Another tremendous episode of Chasing Liberty coming to you live from beautiful Door County, Wisconsin, where currently it is percent humidity. Join with me here. Looking forward with Jess. Welcome, Jess. And how's the weather down by?
It's 9,900. That's a little too excessive. We're definitely humid. It rained today, and I don't want to go outside. It it's funny. I was in Texas for so many years in the heat down there. It sucks absolutely, but the humidity in Wisconsin. Oh my goodness! On days, it'll scorch you. It'll get you. Yeah, yeah.
Up here for us tonight, we got some breaking news to top her off with, and some headlines that we're going to be pushing forward. So, what do we got lined up here for us tonight, Mr. Producer slash co-host slash?
Maybe jack of all trades. Sure. First, I want to start out by what's going on with your campaign. You were on a radio
Oh,
show. You got events coming up. Like, give us an update on that. Start out there.
absolutely. So Saturday on WTAQ.
How'd that go?
It was pretty. It went great. Went great. We had some live callers in, and I get the same message: is well, we didn't know anybody else was running the eighth congressional. To our struggle, bud. That's what we're
Yeah.
trying to get up. Smooth. Had a great time. Steve, and it's great to have some on WTAQ. As I grew up listening to radio station, so I remember listening to that, heading up to my dad, and he's got WTAQ. It was pretty honorable. It was pretty awesome to be on there. It was also on Friday. I met with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, 158 out of Green Bay, to start some conversation. Their membership is definitely not politicians that they have endorsed have been doing for them. So, uh, see maybe we get some endorsements out of there. At least getting to the Mohegan Tribal Council and get to speak with them for a few. And an independent nation, so that was pretty cool. I got invited to their to go to the powwow. I've never been to one. It'd be a good time. I was also invited to go and talk to them, and also with their elderly within their retirement community. At the time, we're spreading the message of liberty to. Tomorrow, I will be up in Marinette, and not Milwaukee, Manaki. I don't know. I don't know how that's pronounced.
You're
I
good.
should probably
You'll
figure
you'll figure it out. It's not in your district. Don't worry about
that.
it.
No, if you'd like more information on that event and the details on that, liberty2022.com. And it's at from 7 to 9 p.m. So I'll bring everybody. Come meet your concerns on your federal government and how it might be of service.
Also, I when I was up north last year talking with some Indian tribes, they were talking about the missing and murdered indigenous women, and surprisingly, that is still going on. Like I was oblivious to it. I had no idea that it was still happening, and a lot of that's still going on. It is just absolutely sad. So there is something out there, missing and murdered indigenous women, and it's a task force. It's even through the DOJ's got one, but they have a grassroots movement up there in northern Wisconsin. Absolutely amazing. There's a Wapaka County Post as well. Great, great group of people trying to be heard and screaming, and they're being
Oh,
ignored.
yeah.
And that's what you're finding too, right? Nobody's listening to them. If
Correct.
if you look at the incarceration rates behind Native Americans, um, we're one of the worst in the nation, and we've got 1/6 of the amount of population as Arizona, and it's sad. We're getting handed to us out there. It's sad. Anyways, a little off topic. See,
They're,
I go to these roads.
they're definitely the first people of this country. Hopefully, we can bring some service to them. Um,
Yes.
it's very exciting to be able to even have the participation. It was definitely intimidating sitting in front of the tribal council too. That was something.
How many?
I want to say there was at least there was a
Oh,
packed room. I mean, there was some participation from the community, which was cool to see. You
how,
know, you don't.
how how many different tribes? Is there more than?
This was just
Okay.
the Mohican tribe, the Stockbridge Muncie band.
Yep.
So
So
they're
there
right
is
in the southern part of Menominee County there.
so there is a community with I'll look that up for you, but with all the tribes kind of come together with the chiefs, and they have their own little group, and we got to see if we can get you on that. Let me put that on my notes to do for you. I'll help you out with that, buddy.
I appreciate that. I
I'm
appreciate
there for
that.
you.
Got a message here pretty bad. Am I still breaking up?
Uh oh.
Uh
Keep losing
oh.
sound, huh?
Hopefully that clears up.
I tell you what,
Otherwise, it's going to be a bad show.
I know. If you want to do the restart or something really quick, um, I can talk about something called an HR 46. Where do we want to go with this? She says,
Let me
okay,
see if I can. 46 for a bit. Let me see if I can improve my bandwidth a bit.
gotcha. What chief organization? Okay, so let's bring this up here. I won't even bring it up. Okay, met a gentleman a while back from the Liberty Lighthouse named Peter Seraphin. Absolutely amazing guy. He runs liberty-lighthouse.com. In this, he's been trying to get an HR 46 bill passed. He's been pushing for it, pushing it. So, what is that? The HR 46 bill? This bill is amazing. I absolutely love it. And Jake's going to learn about it once he gets into Congress. So, there's four kind of main principles behind this. This bill requires each bill or joint resolution to include no more than one subject. And the subject can be clearly and descriptively expressed in the measure's title. So, if you are doing a funding, you put it up there and it's your funding bill, and you can't pass things not associated with funding. All right. You can't pass any gay rights or any other things that are happening. So, what's happening is, as bills are going through, they keep piling stuff on it. This HR 46 says no. One topic, one resolution for that bill. Um, Second one, the appropriations bill may not contain any general legislation or change to the existing law if it is not germane to the subject of the underlying bill. Again, it has to be on that topic. Okay. If it's on uh, abortion, gay rights, or anything, it can only stay to that one topic. And that's where this is amazing. I love this thing. Last one, the bill voids measures or provisions that do not comply with these requirements. Okay. So if it says, hey, you're not within that topic, then it's booted off, including the appropriation provisions outside the relevant subcommittee's jurisdiction. So what this is it, again, one topic, and that's the only thing that can be on there. And it's absolutely perfect, and that's what we need. So we're not bundling transportation in with education and in with civil rights, keeping them separate, because people are passing this stuff through, especially at the last minute. And they'll do this a lot on budget bills. When the budget's going through, we saw what happened during the coronavirus when they're giving all this extra funding. So the coronavirus bill, trillions of dollars are going through, and they're putting on Pakistan gender studies, right? That was one. The library in Texas, this is, we've got to stop this, and this is awesome. If you go to the liberty-lighthouse.com, Peter has a petition, and you can sign that petition. Pop your name information in there. He's trying to get to at least 1,000 here. He's very close right now. Once it's done, he's going to ship it off to Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to talk to Peter and see if we can send it to more people, because that's talking to a brick wall right there. So we're going to send it out to more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, and that's regularly for as well. The Libertarian Party is single line legislation. This is what we're going to focus on. This is what we vote on. I don't care if we vote on 100 things in one day. we need to make sure that we're consistent and not all over the board.
It has to be. Well, this is how it's. I misspelled it. This is how it's getting stuff's getting through that should not be getting through, and that's part of the problem. It's yeah.
Well, it's simple stuff. So, like, good legislation is getting missed or passed because they'll write it all up. It goes through on the floor for not even doesn't even go to the floor for debate. But last minute, one party or the other tries to show some throw some shenanigans, and it just destroys the whole thing. Okay, so there was a
Yeah.
burn pit bill that they just threw and tried to pass, and all the Republicans were on board. This was going to help a lot of veterans. It was some good stuff. Last minute, Democrats changed one word and switched some stuff around, and then they all bailed on the entire bill. Okay, so this is why. So one of the first questions that I was asked on the Steve Schrader show is why pick me over Mike Gallagher, or why would I run against Mike Gallagher? I'm running against the entire system, not necessarily Mike Gallagher per se. Libertarians run to break up this two-party system and actually give a voice back to the people. Okay, because we don't have that within this two-party system. You have either A, Republican governance, or B, you have Democratic governance. No one's talking about self-governance. That's what matters. That's what we need to fight for. That's what we need to advocate for: the decentralization of the government, independence, and self-governance. So that was probably a little better answer that I should have took. But when we have this two-party system, this is the games that get played. This is the stuff that they try to sneak into legislation, and this is what ties up good legislation that can actually help Americans. It's politics, and Americans are rid of politics being in their politics, as crazy as that sounds.
Everybody's pissed.
Yeah,
Everybody's pissed because they're not doing anything for the people. They're doing it for themselves.
look how long the
COVID
state
really,
of Wisconsin's been locked up.
yeah. State of Wisconsin was the worst in the nation for getting stuff done during COVID too. And we are one of 11 states that actually has full-time representatives. All the other states are part-time. So we are one of 11 and we're the worst in the nation. It's disgusting. We have way too many members. If we had proper representation, we wouldn't need that many. Hell, if we had proper representation in some of the libertarian policies, we wouldn't need representatives either. So we'd be good.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Chris. I definitely appreciate that. Says I
So,
still got your back. Great message.
one of the things I did last week is I went to a Roger Waters concert. He was the lead singer for Pink Floyd, and amazing concert. It was good. I was I was just in awe of all the political messages that were out there. I think in
Really?
the first, yeah, oh, insane. I was waiting for the trippy background. There's only a couple songs that came out, like "Comfortably Numb" had them, um, but other than that, just full of political messaging. Um, Hated the government, anti-government. Some people were actually got up and walked out during the intermission. A lot of seats were empty and stuff like that. But I hung out for it, and he was on to something. Like he hated the government for lying and misrepresenting the people, and that's where he was going for. I think some of his messaging was just way too direct and forward, but he went back after even presidents from Ronald Reagan and Obama and Clinton and Bush to here where we are today, and about all the people that have been killed during the administrations that they've been in. And it's amazing. I didn't know if Pink Floyd was really like that the whole time. No idea. I've just listened to their music for years. So that was kind of eye opening.
I
But
like it.
people were cheering. He talked about elections and money in politics and money. That was one that came out when they played money. Oh, yeah. All about the corruption and stuff. So,
Follow the Benjamins, and that's what it comes down to. And that
yeah.
makes me wonder why we just had our why Nancy Pelosi just went over to Taiwan. Why? The only reason for Nancy, she's Nancy Pelosi does not represent the entire United States. She represents a district in California. Just because you're Speaker of the House doesn't mean that you get to spend billions of dollars traveling around the world and ruffling feathers that don't need to be ruffled. Stay home. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever for you to go over to Taiwan unless you were purposely there to provoke China, and that's what I think it's done purposefully, and that's scary. That is terrifying.
China sent, they were doing some more exercises off the coast towards Taiwan. And the US, I think, sent 4 carriers over that direction. So they both escalated up just for this. And
Yeah.
she sparked that ship. Now, remember a couple months ago when she went over to Ukraine too? She was in Ukraine during war. If anything would have happened, of course, that would have been a spark to bring the US into the war. I guarantee you.
Yes, just that's kind of isn't it, Lance Ferdinand? That's how World War I started. Okay, he was out walking the streets, shaking hands and kissing babies, and some random person fired one round, and that was the catalyst that kicked off World War I.
Yeah.
Okay, one incident. Okay, and that's exactly what would have happened. There would have been one person, some rogue person that took a single pop shot at Nancy Pelosi. That would have been the catalyst to start off a major military conflict. That does not need to happen. Okay, we need to start taking care of America first. We need to start taking care of our own interests. We built this global supply chain, which is a terrible decision. Now, trade's good. Okay, but you usually want to be trading your excess stuff, not stuff that you depend upon. So right now we have some massive infrastructure issues, and they're trying to pass this. Maybe they did pass this chips bill. I got to double check, but I
It,
forgot how many billions of dollars it is. And I think
52 billion?
was it 52 billion? I
Yeah.
thought it was more than that. I thought it
Uh,
was 250 billion.
I'm on it, buddy.
Okay. But nonetheless, what I think a lot of people misunderstand is those chips are still actually developed in the United States of America. They are created in the United States of America. They just go overseas to Taiwan to actually manufacture all of those because the labor force is a lot cheaper. Yeah, they're using slave labor for this stuff. No, probably not slave labor. It's probably not the right word. They're still probably being paid well, just not nearly as much as they would be in the United States of America. So
Well, that's why we do that is to be able to help keep our prices down. But that's our trade. Chips bill was 280 billion. It looks like it was raised. So
280 billion.
yeah.
Awesome. So
Um.
that's 280 billions of basically a big stimulus package to organizations that are going to start building um, manufacturing chips in the United States of America.
Well,
Mind
remember
you,
when?
most of these companies that are going to be building them are also profiting tens of billions of dollars annually.
Of course, you got to take it off the top first, right? You got to take your
Mm.
cut. But if you remember, Nvidia, who's a California company, and guess where Pelosi is, California. They're going to be getting a lot of that. And of course, remember they had stocks in them, and they made millions of dollars on their stocks, but they just sold their stocks. So they played the
Ooh.
game. They got all the way up there. They sold them. Maybe we talked about that last week. So they're out. So they made their billions. So for her to go over there and do that is freaking pointless. There's other ways to work with China to be able to get this done. China is not going to get Taiwan back. I don't think they should. Um,
I don't
Taiwan
think they
was
should either, but I think they're going to continue to saber rattle until there is a conflict. I do foresee a conflict with Taiwan and China.
did, didn't China get Taiwan? Was it after World War II they were allowed to start watching it or kind of looking over it? I think it was
I think
then.
so.
Yeah, because they hadn't had it in so long. And then during the whole breakup from Japan and stuff, I think they were allowed to watch over it. And now they don't want to give it up or their rights for it or it was given up. I'm going to
Yeah.
look all that up. That will be my education next week. I'll figure that out. There's a history behind that. We're
Give us
trying
a
to
little
do that
history
over.
on the Taiwan.
I'm on it. Yeah. Hey, I did find a cute little picture out about a marriage between a man and a woman. I thought it was just interesting. Marriages between a man and a woman. Per, perdoid, perdiod, perdioid. I'm not actually sure how that's pronounced. Never heard of that word. So This is somebody believes
Marriages between a man perdid
Perdoid. Yeah, I don't know how
Papa
to. They misspelled period.
Perdioidy.
They can't even spell period, and they put it on a board. Thought that was
Oh,
interesting.
that's cute. Maybe
Yeah.
they should go
Well,
back to school. Perdioid.
that's a little. It's a little scary when they're trying to make that political statement and they can't even spell. I did find out. When I was researching some other stuff, I found out how monkeypox was started too.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, how it all got started, right there. So it's been around for years. It's been around since the 70s, right?
And for those who want to put their faith in the government, the FDA wadded that vaccine up already too. Waited way longer than they should have to be able to introduce that. And from my understanding, the regular smallpox vaccine is actually a suitable vaccine to protect yourself from the monkeypox as well. So I'm good.
So join the military. You'll be sent.
Yeah, actually, the only time I got it in the military is when I got deployed. They didn't give it to me standard. I had to be deployed in order to get the smallpox
Yeah,
vaccine.
right. And that's when you pick up
And
smallpox, anthrax. Yep.
oh yeah, we got all 5 shots of the anthrax, so I'm pretty much bulletproof according to my shot record.
Yes. You want to play in the breaking news, buddy?
Let's see what you got. See, you're gonna break my heart, or you're gonna make me smile, or maybe a little bit of both.
Oh, I don't know. There's some election stuff in here. I don't know. We'll see. I guarantee I'm going to make you speechless on one of these at least.
All right, hit me with it.
All right. First one. Hot government. Honest, open, transparent. So there's a worker that committed voter fraud. Okay. His name is Harry Waite. Met the guy. He's actually a pretty nice guy. I went up and spoke at one of their events a couple months ago. A lot of people speak at their events. But what he did is he went out and he applied for ballots in other people's names, and he did it for about a dozen people, and he contacted majority of these people. So the ones he got ballots for that he didn't contact was Robin Voss. He also did it for Corey Mason, who's the Racine mayor. And all he did was just apply the ballots, and he was trying to expose, hey, this is how easy it is for people to get ballots. So he did that. And then what he did is he emailed the DA and he emailed Robin Voss and Corey Mason. And he said, hey, I did this. Can we try to fix this? And he's been saying it for years. He's been saying a lot of things that have been happening down, especially over in the Racine area. So the DA, Patricia Hansen, is starting to look into it. And the Racine sheriff, Christopher Schmaling, I don't think he's going to do anything to him. I don't think the sheriff's going to press any charges. But for what he did, it's a misdemeanor for falsifying those statements to just get a ballot. Now, if he would have turned them in, that's a federal offense. So that becomes different then. So,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it still exposes the flaw in the system.
bingo. That's what he was trying to do.
Yep.
And people are outraged over it.
All right. Voting. Okay, there's arguments to be made about trying to make voting easier for people. Voting is supposed to take a level of effort. Okay, it's not supposed to be easy. Okay, it's supposed to be a service to your nation. This is your civic duty is to go and vote, and not just go and vote party lines. You have a civic duty to make an educated vote. Make sure you know who you are voting for. Okay, that is absolutely critically important. You're going to see some independents and you're going to see some third parties on the ballot this year, especially in the state of Wisconsin, actually nationwide. You're going to see that all over the place. But it's supposed to be a bit of a project in order to vote. And I believe I heard it from Assemblyman Dave Steffens on a podcast through Badger State Resistance once upon a time that I believe it was almost every county courthouse is centrally located within each county. That way, everybody within one carriage ride, a 1 day's carriage ride, can make it to the courthouse to be able to vote. So think about this. Go back 100 years when there was no cars, there's no cell phones, no nothing, and you had to literally ride a horse or take a carriage several miles to the courthouse in order to vote. It was a project.
I get that, but that's a total different time. Shouldn't?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
but it still shouldn't be so easy that you can order Robin Voss's freaking ballots and they show up at
Right,
your
I
own
know.
door. Okay,
Right.
there
Yeah.
has to be a rub somewhere where you still got to work for it. It shouldn't be so easy that you can randomly order somebody else's ballots. Because if it's that easy, that opens up the door for fraud.
Yeah.
Okay, period.
And people,
And
yeah, yeah, people have been doing this, and
yeah,
this is where the line has been crossed, and people have known about this, and people have been trying to get it fixed, and it's still not. I would love to see an online system. If I'm secure when I log into my bank from a two-step notification or whatever that is, why can't we just make it like that so everybody can have their own account? And if you want to still do it on paper, you still can. But everybody's accounts could be on there. What would be wrong with doing something like that? I Right now the state is not set up for it. Like their online systems sucks.
no,
DMV is getting better. DMV is actually pretty decent on
the
some things.
DMV is getting better.
On their online stuff, now I get renewals on my email. I can just go in, click a couple buttons, and I've already got my renewals every year.
So if the DMV is getting more efficient, that means their tax dollars should be going down then, right? Just
No,
saying, just saying, you don't
no.
need the workforce you had before. You got it automated. Our tax dollars should start going down.
They're still gonna get their money, but they're gonna want more money. If Evers would have had
Ah,
his way, we'd be paying more taxes right now. We wouldn't have got the surplus back. Um, yeah, yeah. The Build Back Better. That was spending more money than anything else.
the
Anyways,
rate
yeah,
the rate our government spends money is
I know.
mind blowing, just mind blowing.
If you're gonna spend that much money, where's the oversight? Where's the transparency? Open it
Zero,
up. So,
nothing ever.
yeah, if you're going to be spending that much money on taxpayer money, we need to know where it's going. And I guarantee you, we find that out, we will find the fraud. We will know where it's going to go. There's a lot of anal intent of people out there. I dig through that. I love Excel. Pop it onto Excel. I'll play with that crap.
But that's
That's
the
what it'll
thing. They
be.
don't. They want to keep it vague. That way, because that's where the fraud comes in. That's where the
Right.
cheating comes in. That's how they pad that's how they pad their own pockets. Okay, so there's this whole game, the whole entire federal government right now. Absolutely nobody actually represents their people. Okay, right now, all of our politicians up at the federal level, and I've said this before, and I will say it a million times, they are first and foremost uh, representing their donors. Okay, second, they're going to represent their party. Third, they're going to try to represent their future donors. Let's see if I can get that finger straight. No, no,
No.
not today. There we go. I smashed my hand once upon a time, but nonetheless, okay. We the people are like number 4 on the totem pole of priorities for our elected officials. Okay, think about this. Okay, right now, Congress, the United States Congress has a 7% approval rating. 7%. 7% of the country approves of what Congress is doing. 7%. But yet, 93% reelection rating.
And still pull
93%
in
rev
millions of dollars.
and still pulling in millions of dollars. Okay. The system is broken. The system is broken, and there's only one way to fix it, and that is to kick them all the fuck out of office and start getting independents and third parties in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you vote a brand new Republican in office or you vote a brand new Democrat in office, okay, they spend their whole first year campaigning for the national committee. You campaign. You're a
Yeah.
fundraiser your whole first year. It's a great big scheme, and depending on how much you fundraise, that's how you get to pay. You have to pay in order to get on committee seats.
Yeah.
That's how that game works. So when I get to Congress, I'm probably not get a very good committee because I ain't got no money. Sorry, folks, but that's okay. I'll make as big of impact as I can, and I will stand in the way. You think Joe Manchin stood in the way of a lot of stuff? Hold my beer. Watch this.
You're going to be banging your head against the wall a lot,
Probably
because
a lot.
there'll be a lot of stupidity, actions, dumb decisions. There's going to be a lot of that going on. What you're there for, though, is to talk to people and figure out what the heck is going on, and and
Yep.
start exposing it and getting it out there. there's good. I know there's some good people there. I know there is. I've talked to a couple of them.
Yeah.
Getting those people higher up to be able to make that change before they go bad, right? Um, we have to have that change. It's going to get ugly, man.
I do feel that we are at the precipice of the next American Revolution. It'll be a soft revolution, but we the people are going to actively start working these two major parties out. Andrew Yang just launched off his Forward Party today officially. That is up and growing. I've also sat in with probably at least half of the meetings with the Forward Party of Wisconsin. They are getting organized. And they've got some decent stuff coming together, but we have to recognize that we actually have, so we've all heard of the military industrial complex. We actually have something called the political industrial complex already. So politics has now become an industry, not just with the candidates, but I'm talking all the way down to the advertising. I'm talking about the campaign managers, the whole shebang, being able to buy and purchase data, all of that. There is tons and tons of money to be made in politics. Not always as a candidate, but that help facilitate campaigns. There is a whole entire industry wrapped in your flyers, your T-shirts, your signs, all your advertising. There's lots of money to be made um, campaigning, and that's a problem. And that's where we found ourselves now is the amount of money that is involved in politics because it has turned into a business. This was never meant to be a business. This was meant to be representation. This was meant to be a service to your country. This was not meant to be what it is today. And if our founding fathers saw what we've come up with now, they'd be rolling in their graves. It is
They'd be
absolutely
dumping out a lot more
heartbreaking.
tea. Um,
Yeah,
one of the things I've never really been a fan about Andrew Yang on is his UBI, the universal base income, right?
yep.
So where you give away $1,000 to everybody. Okay, this is, I think, asinine because look what happened during COVID and during the last dumping trillions of dollars. Inflation hits. If you dump $1,000 into everybody, all you're doing is just raising that level. So inflation's going to
Yep.
hit. So now you have to sustain that forever, or you
Yep.
have to cut it off slowly and taper it off over years and let the market react because that
But
is
now,
not a good idea.
and I see 100% where you're going. But what I did find interesting is how he wanted to supply those funds. Those funds weren't coming from tax dollars. Those funds were supposed to be coming from like Facebook and Google and all these free apps that you get that actually mine and harvest your data and then sell your
Yep.
data. He was going to take it from them. He was going to start charging them for that universal basic income. So right now, when you get under like Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and other good stuff, it costs you nothing. Okay. Because
Yep.
that means that you are the product. If it costs you nothing, you are the product and they are selling your data. What they count on is how much time you spend on that app. Okay, that's a big thing. Instagram right now is going through a whole big revamp, and they're trying to pick up some more of this stuff, like what TikTok does, because Instagram is starting to lose their viewership on how
Well, they
much
changed
time
their,
people spend.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the idea behind what I understand the philosophy and stuff that he was going after was we're going to provide a universal basic income, but we are going to take it from these organizations that are literally making hand over fist money off of you spending time on these apps. That is your data. That is your personal preferences, your personal critiques, or whatever else. I still see the issues of it economically and what it would actually do to society overall if everyone had basic universal income. But I also see the fact that you should be getting paid for your data too.
Okay,
Where's the middle ground? Is there
totally
something
get
that we
that.
can?
Check this out. In 2020 on the census, 331 people in the U.S., right?
Yep.
80%, so 250 million adults. So if you give $1,000 to the adults, right? Add three zeros. So you're talking about pulling 258 billion from these companies.
Oof.
Where are they going to get that money?
Yeah, they're not. Maybe that $1,000 is a bit too. That would grenade the. That would completely grenade the economy.
How much money did Facebook make in 2021? 118 billion Facebook made. That's not
Those
counting
just
their
phase.
people, anything like that. That was just Facebook. How much money did Google make in 2021? 258 billion. So if you took all of Google's money, that works out perfect.
Google's got lots of money. The government's just going to print more anyways. Not a big deal.
all I would say would be careful, because if you take it away from companies, they're going to try to get money in other places. And right
Oh,
now, these
absolutely.
services are free, and I'd hate to take the internet away from these people. Now, tracking people's information, that's actually bullcrap. That's
Yeah.
wrong.
And maybe that's the avenue that's the best option. They're not allowed to sell your data.
I like this
I,
idea right
I
here.
don't I don't have an absolute answer. What idea is that? Is there a comment?
Yes, anybody that has their data out there, and if it's sold, the people should get the money, not the company. And they should have the option to say, yes, I agree to this. I agree to that price. If not, no. The company should not be able to do that. I
Yep.
would agree. I love this statement. That's exactly. Hey, excuse me, bless me. Take care. I got this. Breaking news.
All
Did
right.
you
Fun part.
know not one person who's been to the Epstein Island has been arrested? Okay. So he committed suicide in prison in 2019.
Suicide.
Just suicide, yep. Ghislaine Maxwell, she got 20 years. R. Kelly got 30 years. All right. Some of the names that I found that have been to this island: Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, Prince Andrew, uh, numerous U.S. senators, Chris Tucker, Bill Gates, John Glenn, George Mitchell, who's a former state majority leader, and I've read it, Donald Trump. And I know there's a lot of other things out there that says he wasn't there. The ones that I've read kind of said he was. So, yep.
And Grizzly Maxwell was the very first person in American history to be convicted of sex trafficking to nobody. Think about that.
Well,
Think about
yeah.
that.
Yep.
So,
How did they book
th-
her as sex trafficking when nobody's there, right? Yeah.
okay, if we want to exemplify the level of corruption that we have here in the United States of America, that's the perfect example.
Yep.
That is how deep our elected officials are willing to go to protect themselves. They will completely turn a blind eye to this and not prosecute a single soul. Because as soon as you prosecute one, you got to prosecute them all. Okay,
Just
and they
like
probably don't have any legal stance, but that is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting that one, not only this was happening, but two, there is zero accountability being applied to it. None.
well, look at Simone Biles now, and well, some of the other Olympic athletes that are suing the FBI for a little over $1 billion. Yeah, for all their yeah. I'm not even going to go down there.
Oh
FBI
yeah.
screwed that one up too. Corruption, all because they wanted on that board. We won't go into that one. Hey, let's skip the subject while we're mad now. Breaking news. I don't know. This one might piss you off too. This When you get in, you've got to do something about this, okay? So the Wisconsin
All right.
Supreme Court a few weeks ago ruled 4-3 that the DNR appointee can refuse to leave the office. So here's the story behind this: a gentleman named Fred Pren. Okay, so this is Wisconsin versus Pren. Josh Call brought up about the lawsuit. There's over 100 people right now serving as appointees that have not been confirmed. Like, our House and Senate has not done that. Okay, Evers is trying to get some stuff done, so he's making some smaller committees, wasting tax dollars. So take a water quality, for example. He made a water quality and soil committee. He's trying to go around the DNR because this gentleman right here, Fred Pren, was the board chair of the DNR. He was appointed by Scott Walker in 2015, and his term was up in May 2021. Sandy Nass was appointed by Evers. So she's the one that's going to come in. Hey, your term's done. Get the hell out. He sat there. He has refused to leave. There's conversations at the board meetings and stuff like that were so tense. The Senate has got to confirm his successor, and they haven't done that. They've got all these people out there. I don't think Department of Transportation. I don't think they're appointed yet either. So it's frustrating
So,
why.
so here is reason 1,007,700,062 of why the two-party system sucks.
Yeah,
Because that's all it is.
yeah,
If we do not accept his appointments, our guy gets to stay there and run the DNR. That's it. That's all that it is.
I know.
It's bullshit politics. And I'm telling you now, it's those games. It is those games that the American people are sick and tired of. Period. There is nothing that is going down. Our government is locked down. Okay, which I'd prefer them to be locked down instead of wrecking shit, because normally they wreck stuff. But this is why our country is not moving forward. This is why our veterans are not getting taken care of. This is why our infrastructure is falling apart. It's not because we don't have the fundage, it's because we continue to play political games. Okay, the politics has to stop in politics. As stupid as that sounds, we have to be able to come to the table, and we have to be able to pass single line legislation that helps our country move forward. Okay, something as simple as what's here with the DNR. Okay, there's only one reason for this and one reason only. That's because the Republicans don't want to give up power.
They
I
don't
get
want to
it.
give. They don't want to give any credit to a Democrat, and this is
Yep.
how they vote too. This is why the Republicans just voted against the veterans for a couple of those bills, because the Democrats wrote it, and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to give them the win, even though that it was for the veterans about their benefits, and they didn't vote for it.
Yep.
Yep, because they didn't want to give them power.
It completely blows my mind.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, breaking news: Joe Biden tested positive 2 times in July. And this is what I don't know about. Okay, when people test positive, like at work, we have the policy is you don't have to test again for 3 months because you can get false positives. So
Yeah.
did they just keep testing him? Is he trying to get out of work?
I'm actually going to have to go with the words of Mr. Donald Trump. Joe Biden doesn't have COVID a second time. He has Alzheimer's, or he has dementia. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think he's got COVID a second time. I think he was just having a bad bout of his dementia. Uh, Don't get me wrong. I don't. I'm not doing this to make fun of Joe Biden. I disagree with almost every one of his policies, but as a human being, I genuinely feel bad for Joe Biden.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to feel bad for him.
I do.
He should not he
I
should
look at
not run again ever. Yeah.
I look at Joe Biden and I see my grandfather, and my grandfather, we're fortunately still alive, but he's um my my grandfather right now doesn't recognize me. It was last Easter we got together, and when I walked into the house, um, terrified of me.
Nah, you froze up a little bit. Yeah, I think you froze up. Yeah. You'll have to do a restart if you want. You're still froze. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I am going to go on to the next breaking news. So Trump is visiting Wisconsin. So I am not going to go. Not a chance. So it's going to be on August 5th. I'll tell you where it is. It's at Waukesha Fairgrounds. He's going to speak at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Doors open up at 8 a.m. I'm not going to go. No way. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's what I mean. I like some of his policies when he was in. I like some of the stuff that he did. Okay. But I disliked more than I liked. I didn't like the mouth. So that's what turned me off. So here's the thing. One that really put me off is right after the election, Trump donation. He started up the official election defense fund. Okay. They were sending out about 25 emails a day to some of these people, and they raised $250 million. They raised almost $100 million within the first week. So they were pulling in money, 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 money left and right. The issue that I have is they did not spend any money on any of that election oversight. The January 6th hearings that are going on, this is where some of the stuff is starting to come out. I don't watch it. I think it's disgusting. I hate it. It's total one sided, and they're just trying to play a political game with it. But out of that 250 million, some of the ones that have just come out, he spent $1 million to the Conservative Partnership Institute. Okay. This is the sinecure for Mark Meadows, which means it's a worthless appointed position that he has within this Conservative Partnership Institute. So they got $1 million. The next one, $1 million to the American Policy Institute. Same thing. $5 million to an organizer from the Event Strategies Incorporated. $5 million. I have a lot of questions on that one. Like, what were they buying for that $5 million? And then the last one that came out, $200,000 to the Trump Hotel and Collection. The Trump Hotel and Collection. Why are they paying themselves $200,000 from the donations that came in from the official election defense fund? This is not money spent where it needs to go. And this is one of the reasons I saw this happening. And no way. During the January 6th rally, they paid Kimberly Guilfoyle, got paid $60,000 for a 2-minute speech and introduced her fiance. She spoke for 2 minutes and made what the average American makes all year at that rally. And then, they were told to go over and stuff. And I don't want to go over to January 6th. I hated what they did in the Capitol, but they were angry, and America's getting angry. And when they donate $250 million and it doesn't get spent on what it should have been spent on, who knows where this money is? I'll guarantee that right now. I just don't think that he's the person to get us out of this. I think there's too much fighting and too much animosity out there. That's why I can't be a part of that. Not a chance.
I think. Am I back? Am I still froze?
You're back, buddy. No.
All right.
I got you crystal clear now too.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, we adjusted some stuff here. It's kind of the downside of living up in the Northwoods is you don't have a very strong Wi-Fi connection. So definitely appreciate the audience for stumbling through the stumbles here with us tonight. But no, I believe Donald Trump actually just canceled an event down south somewhere too and didn't reimburse like any of the tickets.
Yeah.
And some of those tickets were like $4,000 a shot. I mean, I know. So Donald Trump is a marketing genius. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. He knows how to show up and rattle some cages and push buttons. Like he just went through, and I forgot what state it was, but he just endorsed, was it a governor candidate? There was like two of them. Two of them are running for I think it was governor, but they were both named Eric. And he publicly, in his endorsement, he never stated their last name. He just endorsed Eric when both the candidates were named Eric.
I was questioning his marketing genius at that point.
Absolutely. So out of all the podcasts that I listened to, absolutely every one of them had to bring this up. Okay. Because then he also called both of these guys and told them that he had the endorsement, and he just said, I endorse Eric. No last name. They both took credit for the Donald Trump endorsement. Cheers on that one, Don. That was good.
Well, I think he's trying to set him up for the next election, obviously. So he can have all these endorsements that people are going to try to pay back to him. And I'm going to be honest, if it's another Trump-Biden vote ticket, I'm going fishing, man. I really am.
Honestly, I think that's the best thing that could ever happen for the Libertarian Party.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. I'd vote for Libertarian. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you now. We will see. I would not be. I'd actually put money on that we would see, unless Joe Biden dies, between now and then, I am more than confident we will see a Donald Trump and Joe Biden 2024 presidential election.
Yeah.
I
I
I I
I
I'd put money on it.
I hope you're wrong. I really do.
Well,
I really do, man.
for those who know my skill set with gambling, it is literally zero. I mean, I am not a gambler
Good.
whatsoever. I am more of a donator to every single casino that I've stepped into. But no, and again, it comes back to this game of politics. Okay,
Yeah.
and I do not see any strong Democratic candidate right now that could step up to the line and actually beat a Donald Trump. I do see Ron DeSantis being a stronger Republican strong on the Republican side, but
Yeah.
the country is hungry for a change, and we have
It is.
seen many years, many decades of going back and forth, Republican Democrat, and I can tell you right now, I heard a guy today. So he told me that he couldn't vote for me because he would split the Republican vote and the Democrat would win. I had to remind him that there's no Democrat in this race, but nonetheless, it is that mindset. It is that mindset that I have to vote for garbage so that garbage doesn't win. I can't buy that anymore. And the
Yep.
American people, we can't continue to go down this path. This is that mindset, that mentality is exactly why we are in the mess that we are in. I got to vote for garbage so that this other garbage doesn't win. That makes no sense to me
I know.
whatsoever. And I heard a quote before. It's not mine. I said, but I'd rather vote for liberty and lose than continue to vote for tyranny and win. And this is what we're continuing to vote for. Both of these major parties have run amok. Okay, they're rogue. They no longer represent the people. Okay, again, they represent their donors. This is always about money. We have all heard the saying, follow the money and you will find your answer. And
Yeah.
that is still true. That does not go away. That is not going to change. And it will never change until we get more parties and more independents elected into Congress. Period.
I'm going to press on because we're getting close. We're 7 minutes out.
Oh,
Breaking news. I know. North Shore University Health System agrees to pay $10.3 million in COVID vaccine mandate. So, yeah, people put a lawsuit back against the organization because when they're mandating, they were forced to leave their jobs or, that whole writing on the wall. So, only 14 workers put this suit in. So, 14 workers got $10.3 million. It needs to be approved by the judge yet. But this was over the religious exemptions that they were trying to say. And the healthcare system said no, and they still fired them. So for 14 workers to get $10.3 million, and I want to watch this because if this goes through, this is the first of it. And there's thousands of workers across the U.S. And this could steamroll into something big.
oh
So
yeah.
even if it was in personal record files, I'm not vaccinated. I was written up a couple times for the whole thing, so it's in my personnel file. It's always going to be there. Is that right? I don't know. I don't think so personally, but I don't know if I really care. But there's a retaliation thing that I really hope happens.
I
Really
sure
hope.
I it's accountability. That's what it comes down to is accountability. That's what I said out back before. Do you believe in mandating the vaccines? I said this, and I'm afraid if your employer, if you're in the healthcare field and you want to mandate your employees, that's your business, that is your right. But you also carry the liability that goes with it. That was the major issue with all of this is there was zero liability whatsoever for this vaccine. So if there's any damages, there's nothing. You don't get anything.
Some
So
people
if
are
you're
forced to sign waivers.
yeah, if your
Yeah.
employer mandates you to get a vaccine, that whoever mandates it, they carry 100% of the liability if things go wrong. But that was a big thing that came through legislatively that these drug manufacturers had zero liability if this was a bad vaccine.
Yep.
Nothing. So we
Yep.
didn't test it properly for it to pass. It was just a terrible, terrible decision. The decision making process on this whole thing. the COVID in general, the decision making process on how to handle COVID. Period. What was a bad decision? Every bit of it was a bad decision. If there was one thing that COVID did give us, it was the insight that governments can't solve problems. There was not one country on planet Earth that handled COVID well. Some did better than others. Even the ones that locked down hard, they still got hit harder. I mean, there was no way to actually stop this.
Actually, there's so many different countries out there that, and there were so many different solutions that they had for them. You can
Yeah.
actually see that a lot of the mandates and the lockdowns made it worse.
Is there a study on
Um,
that yet?
you can check out, follow what's her name on. Oh,
So I'd like to
I'll
have
get
that
your name right.
information. Well, and we
She,
see that in the United States of America too. The states that stayed open, like Florida, handled it
yep.
better than the ones that were locked down.
Yes, and
But I,
that's the way it should have been. If you want to lock down all of Wisconsin, I thought that was a dumb idea. Why would you lock down your, let's say, your top 7, 10 counties up north? There's not that many people in there. They don't get much more popular or much less populated than that. They don't really have a
there,
problem.
there's more deer up there than there are people.
Right. Yes. Kim Iverson. Kim Iverson did a lot of that. She's really gone into a lot of the Ukraine world now, talking about that. But she's really good at looking at all that COVID data. Looked at between Sweden and Israel. Um, she did a great analysis just through the whole process, the whole time it was on.
I'm gonna
She's
have
a
to
good
look
girl.
into that because we nonetheless the governments couldn't solve it, and when they promised
Yeah.
people that they could, and instead they reaped probably a decade or so more of havoc within our economic system by trying to fix it, and
Yeah.
they did. So we're still feeling the ramifications of COVID. And I get really annoyed when people say, well, we had to shut down because of this virus. No, 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 no. The virus didn't do all of this. Our government's reaction to the virus is what caused this.
Yeah.
Okay, we cannot forget that. A virus can't shut down the government. A virus can't take away your job. The government's reaction to the virus, that is why we ended up in the position that we've ended up in. And it still
Yep.
continues because now we still have the government trying to fix the problems of COVID with more government solutions. And I'm telling you right now, the government will always have government solutions to government created problems. Maybe the government should just stop for a while and let people be people. And it
It,
should, I don't know,
it's
crazy
funny
thought.
how you hate them for not doing anything. You hate them for do your goddamn job and represent the people, and then you get really scared when they do something. You're like, wait,
Yeah,
why are they doing that? So they're
yeah.
damned if they're doing, they're damned if you don't. Or maybe we are. We're damned if they do and damned if they don't. We have zero trust in our government anymore. It's
Yep.
gone. Absolutely gone.
And the best way to bring trust back to the government is through transparency and accountability. There is nothing. So that there's nothing whatsoever. There's no mechanism within our government to hold our elected officials accountable to one, spending our tax dollars properly, and two, when they actually violate the Constitution of the United States. How come no one's being prosecuted? Okay,
They got
you violated.
they have watchdog groups out there that can do this stuff. Wisconsin Democracy Now is a decent one. But the problem is when they find this stuff, nothing's happening.
That
That's the problem.
exactly.
Yeah, the
And then what?
corruption is there, and people point it out. And because they make the laws, it's legal for them to do that. Yeah, that's why I don't know how much to fix this is dangerous because it's so deep and it's so many, it's so far. Um, man, I hate it.
That's why. That's why I said we are at the precipice of a revolution. We are going to start seeing. We, the people of the United States of America, are going to start standing up against these two major parties.
Yeah,
They're both at fault. Okay,
yeah,
they are both equally at fault. You can't point at one without pointing back at the other.
yeah.
They're both guilty of it. Okay, they've both had their chance. And because what it comes down to at the end of the day, they don't want to fix problems. Because if the problems are fixed, they can't campaign on it. And if they can't campaign on it, guess what? They can't drum up money for those campaigns. And if they can't drum up money for those campaigns, then they can't pay the people that are within their campaign teams and that whole political industrial complex. It's about money. It's no longer about us. And that's what's heartbreaking. And when you try to actually stand up and run for office with integrity, to actually be the voice of the people, not only do you have to try to run a campaign, you got to fight the two major parties as well. They throw a whole lot more obstacles at you. That makes it even more difficult when you actually have the integrity to run a race right.
I despise them at this point. I just got to almost give up. I'm speechless. You caught me speechless now. I'm tapped. Hey, thank you to everybody for watching. It's awesome. If you see it later, that's all awesome too. Do the best you can. I tried to end it. I wanted to end it on good news, but man, I just didn't have any good news this week. It's just been heartbreaking and retching the more it goes on, and the closer we get to election time, man, it's bad. Now is a good time if you want to catch your representative's ear, because they're out on their campaign trail. They'll actually listen. They'll make you as many broken promises as you want to hear. I promise you.
Yes.
But you can hear and you can talk to them, and at least you can find out some information that you want to know, because right now they are listening. So reach out to them, ask them questions, barrage them with questions, figure out what you need to know. So again, Jess Heisel was looking forward. Just glad to be on the Chasing Liberty, and thanks for having me, Jake.
Definitely appreciate you having coming out here, and definitely thank you all for tuning in once again. And my apologies for the technical issues if there were any with the hesitation with the sound. We are working that out, counting on Elon Musk. But we did launch a brand new website this week. It is actually www.kickmikeout.com. It's where you can find all the merchandise and road signs. So if you would like a t-shirt or a yard sign for your yard to help support the campaign, definitely jump on there. It's www.kickmikeout.com. And you can also look at the calendar for my upcoming events at www.jakeliberty2022. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you have any questions or anything that you'd like me to discuss or just to discuss coming next week, most certain, there it is. Be that cool kid that, oh yes. That was such a fun parade.
Yeah. Where's this parade at?
That, I believe, that was the first one. We did that down in Chilton.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell me? How much are these? $20 for small.
Yep.
Oh, they're all $20.
Yep. They're all $20, and then they're shipping it in, and we'll get it mailed right to your house.
Oh, I can pay you later? Oh, you betcha. I'll pay you later. You count on me, buddy. I'll pay you later. Check's in the mail, man.
I love it. No, we actually burned through our first 100 T-shirts in probably a week and a half. We just ordered another 100 T-shirts, so they should be getting mailed out, hopefully starting out this weekend. You can also order yard signs through that same website and also get access to the main website that's got all the platform information at www.jakeliberty2022.com. Again, we always appreciate the support. The best thing that you can do is tell people about me. That's word of mouth is always the best advertising. So if you like what you hear, please tell other folks about us. And thank you for watching. And we'll meet you right back here next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. when we go live and we talk about how we can chase some more liberty. Thank you all and have a great night.
Have a good night.